Hello, Cheryl. All right, I've got both my feeds going now. So I have up top YouTube and Facebook, and down here TikTok. Hello, guys. How are you? So just give it a minute. Hi, Amir. She's a hot cup. It's because I had her on a heater thing, keeping my tea hot for me while I quickly ran my dog outside. It's very cold today, very cold, minus 22 Celsius with the wind chill. It might have been minus 27-ish with the wind chill this morning when I first got up. But anyway, very chilly outside. So I was delaying. But eventually I said, fine, let's just do this. Hi, JT. So I talk about astrology here, but I'm not talking about mainstream astrology. I'm good. And I also talk about embodiment because those are the things that I am guided to teach at this time. And the reason why I'm guided to teach the true sidereal or Krystic astrology is what I call it. The reason why I've been guided to share that isn't because I'm also going to teach it, but is because it's something that you can utilize to help guide your day in a meaningful way. So it goes hand in hand with embodiment when we're living in the ways that we're supposed to live. So those are the things that I'm talking about these days is astrology, but true sidereal version, like true sidereal astrology, and also embodiment. It's a big concept, but it's not that bad. A way to look at embodiment is really to look at integrity. It's really, in a lot of ways, very similar. And I'll explain that later on. All right. So if you're on here, you can help me out by giving a tap or two just to put some likes out there because that's what TikTok likes. Although I have asked that my live reach those that it's meant to hear it. So if you are a light worker, a guardian, a chosen one, I don't know how you identify yourself. Someone who has a mission, a passion, a purpose. You may be interested in what I'm going to be talking about. Hi, Nadine. How are you, love? So I'll be talking about astrology, but not mainstream astrology, although I will have that looped into the conversation briefly, just so I can explain the difference. And so we'll talk about that. We'll do a celestial outlook, what the sky is saying today. And then we'll talk about embodiment, what all that means. And I'm going to start because we'll get started and people will show up when they're meant to hear it. That's the way that it goes. All right. So today is Tuesday, December 9th, and this is your true sidereal astrology / actual sky placements. As I said earlier, I will talk about mainstream astrology, but only to give you an understanding of the difference between it and true sidereal. So there are different forms of astrology. Some of us have heard, many of us, I should say, or most of us have heard about mainstream astrology. If you've seen a horoscope in a daily newspaper and you've checked to see what your sun sign says, then you've looked at traditional astrology, seasonal, tropical. It's just some other names. So it can be called modern, mainstream, traditional. It can be called seasonal and tropical. And the difference between tropical astrology and true sidereal is that tropical astrology is based on the planets as they were 2,000 years ago and as if they've never changed. But that's not the case. They do slowly transition through the sky. So every March 20th, it's not the sun in Aquarius. Like the sun doesn't just show up in Aquarius and, hey, new year, new me. It's not, it's the sun now would probably be peaking in at least Pisces, maybe even approaching Aquarius, because it's moved that much. So when you look at where the moon and sun and all the planets are in the sky right now, it varies quite a bit from what traditional or tropical astrology utilizes. So case in point, if someone was born right now, they would be born under the sign of Sagittarius because the sun is considered to be in the sign of Sagittarius according to tropical or seasonal astrology. If you look on any sky app that tells you where the planets are currently, you will find that the sun is in the planet of, or is in the placement of Ophiuchus. So the sun's in the constellation of Ophiuchus, which is the 13th sign. So between using tropical astrology and using sidereal, or using true sidereal, there's sidereal, and sidereal is just slightly different. But I use true sidereal because it just what's in the sky at that time. It doesn't consider anything but what is the actual sky. And I'm a seeker of truth, so I feel like this makes more sense to me. When you first look at your chart in true sidereal, you'll be like, oh my goodness, like this doesn't make any sense. I went from being like super Sagittarius to all of a sudden being a combination of Ophiuchus and Scorpio with a little bit of Sagittarius and some, instead of having Taurus for my rising, now I'm Aries rising. Instead of having a Virgo moon, it's Leo moon. And you're like, how does that even make sense? But when you start to understand what the truth is about each of the signs, it makes sense then too. And I always suggest, if you're looking at getting your natal chart done, check out masteringthezodiac.com. They have a beautiful true sidereal calculator there. So just, you have to know your birth information. If you don't know the time of birth, you could use a live sky app. I use the Sky Live. It's actually called theskylive.com. And if you go there, you could search up all the planets and you could search on the day of your birth. So go to 000 for the time on the day of your birth, and then advance it to the next day. So it goes from, for me, I'm on December 6th. So I would start, say, on the 5th at 000, go to the 6th at 000, the 7th at 000, for all of the planets in my natal chart to confirm that nothing transitioned if I didn't know my time of birth. That way there, I can safely say nothing moved on the 6th. None of the planets moved on the 6th. So you know that your chart's accurate. But if there are any transits, then you have to look at, well, in this placement, what does that show up as? And what does that show up as? And pick which one more aligns with who you know to show up as. And if you have a difficulty with that, pick someone that knows you really, really well and get them to read the description and say, which one more describes me? Because sometimes it's easier for those who are reflecting us to accurately tell us about ourselves. Because sometimes we get shy, or we get kind of like, humble, right? I don't want to brag, or I don't want to think I'm this way. So that's why I use True Sidereal. Mastering the Zodiac is the site I use for natal charts. I do readings. If you're interested in a reading, connect with me. I don't have it on the website yet. And I have a variety. I have a couple readings. So we're going to talk about a variety of things today. I'm super excited. Hi, Carol. Love you, sweetheart. I'm super excited about what we're going to talk about today, because I'm going to go through what the sun actually means and how it expresses across all the signs. So if you're wondering if you are true sidereal and you're wondering what that means in sun sign, so let's say you're Virgo in tropical or mainstream astrology, then you're more than likely Leo for your true sidereal. Like I said, just go to Mastering the Zodiac. You don't need to know your time of birth, although it does help, and you won't get your rising sign. The reason why you can't get your rising sign is because that's something that changes every 1 to 3 hours. Like it's in that range, right? You have a 24-hour clock and you have 13 signs that it's transiting through. So it's between that 1 to 2 hour mark for how long it takes to transit. So with those changes happening that frequently, you'd have to read all of the rising signs and then go, okay, that sounds like me. And I'll talk about rising signs possibly tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then Thursday. I'm deciding between the moon tomorrow and the rising signs. Okay, anyway, let's look at our current planetary positions. We have the sun in Ophiuchus. We have the moon in Leo. We have Mercury in Libra. We have Venus in Ophiuchus and Mars in Ophiuchus. So we basically have the masculine and feminine energies both being expressed in Ophiuchus. We have Jupiter in Gemini, Saturn in Aquarius, Uranus in Taurus, Neptune in Pisces, and Pluto in Capricorn. So our outlook that we get because of the planetary alignments, and this is the current sky. This is, if you look up the sky, this is where the planets are right now. So we are now moving through the sacred still point, the day, and we're a few days after the full moon. Now we're in, so we have the sun, the moon, we have the sun, Venus, and Mars in Ophiuchus, which is purification. This is just that big purification energy. So the holy fire is still burning, but now it moves through your daily choices, your words, and your moments of courage. So embodiment is not a grand gesture. It is your breath, your presence, your no, your yes. You're just embodying it. So the moon in Leo is calling your heart to rise, because Leo speaks the language of divine radiance. Leo's the heart energy, right? Like Leo's the lion, and but not in that, it's been shaped in that pride, that, in that egoic way. That's how it's been tainted in mainstream, which is interesting. I just got an invitation from a guy that has a picture, or a person that has a picture of a lion as their picture right at that time. Hi, Kat. Hi, Bands. So the moon in Leo is calling your heart to rise, because Leo is about that divine radiance. And this is not performative. That's what mainstream would have you believe, because then as long as you prescribe to that label, then you will adopt the characteristics of it. So it works if we get all messed up and out of alignment and we own all these negative characteristics. So I like to teach you what the signs and what the planets and everything about astrology as you should know it, as opposed to anything. It's like, as it goes with mainstream, it's more of a personality test, or it's seen as more of a fun thing. Whereas you can really use it to be a powerful tool to navigate the energies and to navigate your life, right? And how to express your life. So the full moon in Taurus that we had almost a week ago now, it was on the 4th. So we're 5 days out from that. So we're still in the first week, which would be the week of the full moon. And then we'll hit the quarter, like the third quarter, and then we'll continue into the new moon and then first quarter and so on. And what we had with the full moon, which in mainstream, they would have said it was in Gemini, but it was actually in the constellation of Taurus, while the sun was in Ophiuchus. And Taurus said, you're worth it. That's what Taurus is all about. Know your worth, and your worth is just you by existing. That's it. That's all you need to know. You exist, you're worth it. Easy peasy. So the Leo, now that we've transited all the way down to Leo, Leo moon says, now live like it. Right? So that's it. You're worth it. Now live like it. You got this. That easy. So let the flame in your chest take shape. Let the truth of your soul be known, and let it move you in the direction that you need to go. So we've got the sun in Ophiuchus, which is the wounded healer who is now becoming the living flame, because Ophiuchus is the 13th gate, and that's the gate of resurrection. So with Ophiuchus continuing to carry the codes of resurrection and revelation, right? This 13th gate is the timeline restorer, the bearer of sacred medicine, the destroyer of illusion. So as the sun continues through this constellation, we are being taught that healing is not fixing, it's remembering. Power is not dominance, it's transparency. And ascension is not escape, it's full embodiment. So we're back to embodiment. This is the season of embodiment. We're approaching 2026, and that's a 9-year. That's a completion cycle, right? The completion year. So let yourself be transfigured. Let the solar codes of Ophiuchus return you to the original flame within. It's time to get right with yourself. So the moon in Leo, that radiant integration, is offering that stage of the soul that we want to be on the stage, or we want to be embodying our truth or doing what we're meant to do, right? And if we're meant to be public facing, we're done with being afraid to take the stage. But we're not there to perform, right? We're there to take the stage with our soul, in the sense of this is what I'm meant to do. This is my passion. This is my purpose. This isn't, I'm dancing on the stage so I can make some money. like, clap monkey clap. That's not, we're not doing it for that. We're doing it because this is alignment. This is embodiment. This is our soul's work, our soul's purpose, right? So, all right. I have to make sure I'm looking at both of you guys. I can't just stare at TikToks. All right. So how do you shine when no one is looking? How do you claim joy as your birthright, even when the world forgets? So today is going to ask you to do that. Let your inner kid out. Let your inner child shine. Let joy rule your day. Do something today that lights your soul. Take a step in the direction of your passions. Step on the stage. Be brave, right? That's Leo energy. Because Leo's not arrogance in the Krystic system. It is the heart remembering its own fire. Leo's the one that's like, I'm me, right? And you should be me, like for the reasons, not for vanity reasons, but in the sense of me in alignment and shining that radiance forward, that kind of me, not like I said, for arrogance purpose. So that's that noble yes to divine purpose. If the fox is here, we're in for a real treat. Oh, yeah. The fox is back. Cass, hey. Come here. Let's go look out the other window. Cass. Come on, let's go. Hey. Thank you. You go tell him out that window. We're still going to hear him, but it'll be a lot better. It's such a shame too, because watching the fox hunt is so fun because they're so cute. Like, I swear they're more related to cats than they are to dogs. It's fascinating for me to watch them. I'm very entertained. But Cass just every single time is just losing it, barking and growling. All right. So spend some time today in play, in light, in expressive movement. Let your body become the brush and your heart the paint, and just have a wonderful expression today, right? Like, just express. Like, he's down the driveway now. He's getting close to being out of sight. So Cass will settle down soon, but he'll want to go out. For a little bit, he'll be very, very antsy and elevated, and he'll be just wanting to get out, and he'll start whining, like, let me out. But then he'll settle down. If it was a little bit later, I'd give him some food, but it's not that time yet. So, all right. So we've got our Krystic daily triad. Now, we have 3 different triads that we can look at, okay? And one is the Krystic daily triad, and this is where we're looking at the true sky weather. And that's the sun, the moon, and the ascendant. And the ascendant's moving every couple of hours, right? So you would be looking at it in the moment. So it's more of a moving energy, because the sky's alive and it's all about what's at the present moment, right? So you would be looking at it as in that moment. If you knew what the sign was in the morning, what the rising sign is when you rise, then you know that it's going to go from that sign to the next sign to the next sign. So you know what the signs are that are coming up and how that energy is going to express itself through the rising, because, well, you'd be versed in that, right? So you would apply that to what the sun and the moon were doing. We have the psychological triad, which is what I used to call the daily triad, but I apologize for that. But the psychological triad, and this is your internal landscape. And this is important because we're looking at the moon, Mercury, and Venus. The moon is your emotional landscape. Mercury is your thoughts and communications. And Venus is your attractions, your desires, relationships. So those 3 energies. And then there's another one, but I'm going to read these 2 first, and then we'll talk about the third one because it doesn't have as much emphasis as the first 2. So every day we anchor the Krystic daily triad, which is a living compass encoded in the stars. This is not theoretical astrology. This is a Krystic technology of alignment. So you are learning to live in coherence with the greater pattern. So we're living, because we're meant to live in harmony with Mother Gaia and with the rest of everything. Right? So this is a part of it, is the celestial bodies. So the Krystic daily triad of the true sky weather, which is the sun, the moon, and the ascendant, you use throughout your day to stabilize frequency, to help you choose aligned action, and to walk with clarity. So this is your living alignment protocol. And what you would do is look at the sun is in Ophiuchus, the moon is in Leo, and then the ascendant, if known, you would add it in and look at it as it moved through the day. So as we're looking at it with just the sun and moon, without that rising placement, we're looking at that living with radical authenticity. That's what Ophiuchus and Leo in the sun and moon are bringing. That's embodying that sacred leadership and letting the divine speak through your heart. So it's that powerful energy between the sun and the moon. As the sign went through each of the rising signs, right? As it moves through each of the rising signs, that's when you would look at the other effects of what the rising sign would apply to it. So the psychological triad, which is the internal landscape, you could use this as a journaling or embodiment reflection. It reveals your inner terrain. So Leo Moon, Libra Mercury, and Ophiuchus Venus is what those placements are right now. So the questions that those are going to be asking you is, what am I truly feeling? Leo heart, Leo moon, right? So the Leo's the heart, and it's all about authenticity. So when Leo's in the moon, it's going to be asking you to get real with what you're feeling, because Leo's raw with emotion, is real. When you have, so the next question that you have is, what truth wants to be spoken in love? So we have Libra and Mercury. So Libra here is representing harmony and balance, fairness, like all of those beautiful components of a healthy relationship. So it's asking the question in that space because Mercury is about your communication and your thoughts. And that's why it's saying what truth wants to be spoken with love. And then Ophiuchus and Venus is asking, where am I holding back out of fear of judgment? Because Ophiuchus is the resurrection energy. And Venus is your desires and relationships. So it's just asking, like, where have you not allowed yourself to rise from the ashes? Where have you not allowed yourself to move beyond what is maybe the things that might be holding you back? The last one is the cognitive triad, and this is a mental identity. So it's the sun, the moon, and Mercury. So we're looking at the current placement, the expression, we're looking at our emotional landscape, and then our thoughts and communication. So this isn't necessary for Krystic anchoring, but it is useful for mental pattern recognition. So the Ophiuchus Sun, Leo Moon, Libra Mercury, this asks us, where am I learning to speak with both fire and grace, right? Because a lot of people have the misconception that someone that's done their spiritual journey or done their healing from their trauma or, whatever, that spiritual people shouldn't be angry. That's, you should be perfect, right? There's all these ideas. And I know when I went through my healing journey, after I got to a certain point, people would be like, well, you can't get mad anymore because you did your healing journey. And it's like, what, I can't get upset about something? Like I can't, I'm supposed to be happy all the time now because I did healing? Like, no, that just dealt with the stuff in the past. There can still be stuff going on today that I'm going to have to deal with. And the way I deal with it is different. It's big time different. So where am I learning to speak with both fire and grace? And what belief am I now ready to rewrite? And I know that I've been talking with my friends about this a lot, and we are all talking about those beliefs and digging down and getting to the root, getting to those core beliefs and eradicating them once and for all, right? We need to do root canals. So these are the daily triads. And when we live this triad, it helps recalibrate your nervous system, your choices, and your knowing, because you're now living in alignment with everything else that's in alignment. So our Krystic embodiment prompt for today is to ask yourself, what does sacred leadership look like in your daily life? So what does it look like to you? Because you're the leader. You're the leader in your life. So what does sacred leadership look like in your life? Where have you dimmed your own fire to keep others comfortable? Figure out where that is, because then you can do some healing on that. And what am I willing to declare as non-negotiable in my soul expression? So what are the things that like that's just, right? For me, I won't eat McDonald's. That's a knowing. That's a knowing. I will not eat McDonald's. It just makes me gag just thinking about it. And that's me. Itchy nose. That's me. So, I stand on that. I won't eat it. So that's non-negotiable in my soul expression, right? And there's many others, and we can get really deep into that as well. But that's up for you to do as you go through it. So let your light be soft but unmistakable, because you are not here to convince. You are here to transmit. You're just here to radiate your energy outward. So our daily Krystic attunement, we have the divine law of the day, and our divine law of today is the law of transmissions. What you carry, you radiate. Live as frequency, not a performance. Your elemental ally for today is fire. So it's all about ignite the truth, burn through distortion, and radiate without apology. This is not chaos, it is creation. And then your guardian flame focus is golden flame of sovereign radiance, the light that does not dim even in shadow. So call this flame through your spine. Let it straighten your posture, your purpose, and your path. So stand tall and let the flame in your heart become the sun of your day. Okay? I like the way that is. Let the flame of your heart become the sun of your day. All right. Let's talk about embodiment. I'm going to have some tea first, though. And we can discuss. You can discuss everything that I talked about that. Yes. The golden flame of sovereign radiance. I love it. It's tea time. Hello, dear Diana. How are you, my love? It's been really cool, like how much we've talked about embodiment and we've talked about all of those things. And I have a class coming up that I'm going to talk about, guys. I'm really excited about this because this is going to be an inexpensive 3-day little class. And it's on something that everybody wants to know a little bit more, do better with. So I'm super excited to share this course. And it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be reasonable. It's $44.44 Canadian to attend this 3-day course. $44.44 Canadian. And you get a PDF and stuff like that. Unless you're in the Krystic Mastery Circle, and if you're in the Krystic Mastery Circle, you get it for free. That's my gift to the Krystic Mastery Circle group members this month, or sorry, January. So that's the January class. It's going to be on, I'll be announcing it in a moment after, maybe I'll do it now. Maybe I'll talk about it now. Carol kind of had a little sneak peek about it. I was talking about it earlier. Let me see, where was I? I'm looking for, I believe it's here. I just wanted to give you the accurate name. So I just wanted to talk about it from the notes that I have. So I'm telling you exactly what you're going to end up getting in it. Okay. So what you're going to get, there is an add-on bonus and stuff like that. But so what I'm going to do, the 3-day class that is free for Krystic Mastery Circle members, $44.44 Canadian for everybody else. This is the Krystic Wealth Activation Series. So the mini class theme is reclaiming divine provision through frequency, embodiment, and field coherence. So this is a powerful 3-part mini class guiding encoded souls to release scarcity-based spiritual templates, expand nervous system capacity for abundance, activate their personal oversoul wealth gate, and reestablish coherence between energy, action, and income. So it's a 3-day. I will be doing it on Zoom. I will probably be saving it on YouTube as something that you can watch later on. It'll be just a unlisted one that's on YouTube that everyone can watch that has the link or whatever. So I'll have that set up for you guys so you can watch that. We'll do it in 3 different days. There's 3 different modules. Thank you, Craig. 3 different modules. The first one is the frequency of wealth. I love these guys that come in. They're so crafty, hey? They're so crafty. Give me a second. I'm sorry, I'm doing this in the middle of this. Ugh. That notification guy, I'm just reporting his account. Yeah. All right. Okay, so module 1 is the frequency of wealth. Yeah, that's why I said they're very crafty, hey? Because it looks like it's a notification that keeps popping up, right? But it's actually an individual coming in pretending to be someone, like be notification, like it's just someone spamming, so I had to report them. All right, so session 1 is the frequency of wealth. This is you are not broken, the field is waiting. And it's going to cover why spiritual beings struggle with receiving, understanding Krystic abundance versus karmic flow, what the field actually tests for, embodiment versus performance versus perfection. And there's going to be a practice, which is the energetic integration tracker and field scan. So that's what you're going to get from day 1. Day 2 or session 2 is, or module 2, whichever title it ends up having, is the body as conduit. This is holding more without collapse. So why belief is not enough. Nervous system capacity equals timeline stabilization, clearing martyr, performance, or controlled distortions, anchoring joy, visibility, power, and receptivity. And the practice is a body-based receptive power activation. And then session 3 is opening the abundance gate. You were never meant to chase it. And this is identifying your core abundance archetype, closing false portals, hustle, trauma, money, overgiving, and activating your oversoul wealth current. And there's a ritual, which is the Abundance Gate monthly activation that you get for that. So you get all of that. It's a 3-day wealth activation series, $44.44, and or free to Krystic Mastery Circle members. So the membership group that I have, if you're a member of that particular membership group, you get it for free. Hi, Chair Bear. How are you? How are things in Minnesota? Minnesota? Do you got a toque? It's snowy. It's very cold here. It's not fit to be. It's very chilly. It's going to be really, really, really cold on Thursday. Like we might see minus 30. That's not, not okay with that. Not okay with that. So yeah, so this is I'm going to be doing this class in January. Stay tuned for the date, or like the exact date of when it's going to run. Because I also have Bridge to Light Phase 2 starting on January 9th. So it's going to be after that, sometime, I think, after the 15th of January, like it'll be later in the month of January that I'll start it, or that I'll have it. But anyway, look forward to that. So the Krystic Wealth Activation Series, a 3-day series, that you can get for $44.44, and that's one of 2 ways: either for free through the Krystic Mastery Temple membership group, or by signing up for the class on my website. And I'll have that up there in the next couple days. So yeah, it'll be awesome. Okay, so let's talk about embodiment. We like our embodiment, right? It's big one right now. That's what the celestial placements are having us prepare ourselves for, right? That's what the alignment is pushing, is embodiment. So today's energy is alive, bright, expressive, and deeply clarifying. The way that the moon and the sun, the moon, and all the other celestial placements, the way that they are laid out today, it's very powerful energy. So the sun is in Ophiuchus, which is the sign of truth, healing, and higher alignment. The moon is in Leo. We talked about this. That's the sign of the heart fire, of self-expression, identity, and courage. This is that divine radiance. That's what Leo looks after. Oh, and don't let me forget, remember, I wanted to talk about the placements. Maybe we'll pause. Do you guys want to look at the Krystic placements of the sun first? Because I was going to talk about the sun, like how the sun shows up. Like when you use true sidereal and Krystic astrology, what your sun sign actually reflects. Do you want to do that talk right now? And then we'll talk more about embodiment. I think I'm going to do it because otherwise I might forget, because I almost forgot. I almost forgot. Okay, just let me get my notes up here. All right. So in Krystic, oh, I know, right? In Krystic astrology, the sun reveals how the oversoul radiates into embodied form. So it is the core light, the guiding flame, the expression of identity, purpose, vitality, and the soul's chosen mode of shining in this lifetime. So this is going to go through the 12 gates, which are the 12 signs that traditional or seasonal astrology uses, plus the 13th sign, which is Ophiuchus. So 12 gates and the 13th sign. All right. So this is how the core radiance filters through each constellation. So if you happen to be, if you're in traditional astrology thinking that you're a Leo, then the likelihood is that in true sidereal, you would be Cancer. And so you usually roll back one sign in all the placements. There is a little bit of variance here and there, but it all depends on, like if you're born on the cusp of a sign, maybe you moved 2 signs when you switched to true sidereal, because it considers not all constellations are the same size, right? So the planets take a different amount of time to transit through each placement. So anyway, if you are a sun in Aries, and this would be, ooh, I like it. Cappy. Use Mastering the Zodiac if you want to check out what you would be in true sidereal. It's a really great site for doing free natal charts. It does a bunch more than that as well, but it's a really great site. So check that out. But I also take the distortions out of the signs when I use the Krystic astrology. So that's why I don't just say that I do true sidereal. So the sun in Aries, this radiance expresses as ignition, as courage, direct motion, and divine will. The oversoul enters through pure fire and purpose, right? So Aries knows and Aries goes. And what we've been doing, and this is where the issue comes, is that we would have looked at our astrology, right? And we would have been like, I'm a Taurus. A Taurus expresses very different from an Aries. Very different. So if you've adopted the characteristics of Taurus and live thinking that I am a Taurus and this is how Tauruses express themselves, then you'll express yourself as such, and then you'll be like not in alignment, not even realizing it, thinking maybe you are. So there's fire and purpose in Aries when Aries is the sun. This is the ignition. This is the start, right? Then we have the sun in Taurus. This radiance expresses as stability, embodiment, devotion to form, and sensual presence. That's a very different energy than Aries, right? The oversoul shines through patience and grounded mastery. Aries is quick. Aries is out of the gate. Aries is running, and Taurus is grounded. It's like, I'll take as long as it takes. I will master this. It's very, very different energies. The sun in Gemini radiance expresses as curiosity, communication, idea exchange, and mental agility. Gemini love to spar mentally. They love intellectual conversations. And it's, and if you have Gemini in your communication, like in Mercury, that's even double dose of that, right? So the oversoul shines through connection and learning. And we learn in a variety of ways. We don't just learn in a traditional education system. You can learn through your friends. You can learn through experiences. But Gemini loves to learn, collect information, and then share that information with everybody, and then have deep conversations and, learn even more. The sun in Cancer, that radiance expresses as emotional wisdom, nurturing, memory, and intuitive sensitivity. This is why I call it the mom of the astrological wheel, because it has that very mom energy. The oversoul shines through protection and care. How much more mom could you get than that, right? And I always say, you need to have mom find it, right? Use your mom eyes and you'll find everything. Hi, Ahmed. Sun in Leo. This radiance expresses as confidence, creativity, leadership, and heart-centered expression. The oversoul shines through sovereignty and joy. It's powerful, powerful energy. The sun in Virgo, the radiance expresses as refinement, healing, organization, and sacred service. The oversoul shines through detail and devotion. It sounds so much better that way than the way that Virgo gets now. It's like it gets the hard rap of being the perfectionist and being, extremely critical, and it's much different to say refinement than perfectionism or mastery, right? That's has a way better connotation to it, and words are powerful, so we need to be using the proper words. Sacred service over, constantly being, serving others is, like Virgo gets that, sacrificial service kind of vibe that they give and give and give and give and give and serve and serve and serve and serve. And so if you're expressing yourself as Virgo through traditional astrology, you may be thinking that's how you have to express yourself, that you're meant to just give and give and give. So then you end up giving and overgiving and also having very porous boundaries. The sun in Libra, the radiance expresses as harmony, justice, beauty, and relational wisdom. The oversoul shines through balance and diplomacy. Libra is the gate of harmony, right? And harmony, that's a beautiful word. It's different than just balance when you're looking at harmony, because balance implies that almost like 50-50, right? Like if you're on a balance beam, or, if you're balancing a teeter-totter, right? But harmony is different, because that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be 50-50. Right? It's just you're moving cohesively and in relation to another, which is a much more powerful energy. The sun in Scorpio, this radiance expresses as depth, transformation, power, and truth-seeking. The oversoul shines through mystery and revelation. You pick up a lot more when you're quiet. And one of the hallmarks of being mysterious is the concept of being quiet. So Scorpio, because they are listening and paying attention, and, they're not just listening to the words, they're, paying attention to the body language, and they're, sensing the energy in the room, and, they're picking up the shadow, and, so they're in the depths, and to be there requires, shutting off some of the senses. And by not talking a lot, or by seeming a bit more distant, we give off that energy of being very mysterious. I wonder what they're thinking. They're so quiet. They don't say much. Right? And it's just because Scorpio is just sussing out the truth and depth, and they're very deep. The sun in Ophiuchus. Now, this is the 13th sign, the one that's often overlooked. And this is a very powerful sign. And I love bringing it back because, like I said, I'm a truth seeker. I love the truth. So I keep looking and looking and looking and trying to find it, and sitting with myself and discerning it. And anyway, the 13th sign, sun in Ophiuchus, this radiance expresses as regeneration, transmutation, and serpent fire awakening. So the oversoul shines through alchemical healing and remembrance. So this is my sun sign, and that makes more sense to me, even though when I look at sun in Sagittarius or sun in Scorpio, because if I was in tropical, I would be sun in Sagittarius. If I was in sidereal, I would be Scorpio, but true sidereal includes the 13th, so I'm Ophiuchus. I'm a truth seeker. Ophiuchus is a combination of Scorpio and Sagittarius. It's really that Phoenix rising energy. And my whole thing has been healing and having you remember, and truth seeking and higher understanding, which is the combination of those two signs. So the sun in Sagittarius, this free thinker, this person you can't tie down because they're not serious about relationships. Isn't that what mainstream talks about? Right? Sagittarius, always up for a good time, but not willing to settle down. I don't know. They have so many different ones for all the signs, but I know that was one of them for Sagittarius. But this radiance actually expresses as vision, exploration, freedom, and higher understanding. The oversoul shines through truth and expansion. Sagittarius teaches in love that the only free bird is the one with an open door in their cage. They don't have a cage. There's no cage. And if there is a cage, there's an open door. Right? And love operates that same way. If Sagittarius feels like there is no freedom, right, which is what there should be an element of freedom. And that doesn't mean being able to go out and, sleep with other people. That's not what it means. But if they feel like their sovereignty as an individual has been overrun, that is them losing their freedom. So then they don't want in that. They want out. They're like, I'm out. I'm out. This is not in alignment with me. So there's, it's understanding those things, but there is the higher understanding and the truth and expansion. So they get dubbed as being quite blunt, but that's not a characteristic of Sagittarius. They are truthful, yes. But truth doesn't have to come with a sword, right? You don't have to stab somebody to get them to hear you. The truth can be softly spoken. And when it's the truth, it is recognized as the truth in your body. You don't need it yelled at you, screamed at you, beaten over your head. It's just the truth is. So that's what Sagittarius needs to switch to by understanding the true expression of Sagittarius versus what's been distorted in mainstream. The sun in Capricorn for Jer Bear, the radiance expresses as mastery, discipline, structure, responsibility, and legacy. Remember, Capricorn is the goat and the one that will climb the mountain and stake the claim on the top, right? Like Capricorn is about achievement. They will finish what they started. And that's how they get the legacy, right? That's wealth that lasts for generations. Capricorn is considered to be the dad of the astrology wheel, whereas Cancer's the mom, and they are opposites on the wheel, although the wheel isn't like exactly the way that the wheel is presented in tropical, because there's 13, so it's not an even piece of pie that everyone gets. So the sun in Capricorn, the oversoul shines through achievement and stewardship. That's the protector, that's the provider energy. That is the energy, like the steward of society, of, because when we're in the later signs, that's more collective energy sign versus individual energy of the first 6 signs, where like Leo is heart radiance, and Taurus is self-worth, and so on and so forth. The sun in Aquarius, this radiance expresses as innovation, community, unity, and forward thinking. The oversoul shines through collective awakening. So for those of us that have Aquarius in the sun, that is what you want. That's how you want to be expressing yourself. And Aquarius and other placements lends a lot of those characteristics or that energy to those particular placements. It's just within the placement that it's in. So the sun is that radiance expression. So how your light is expressing itself in the world, versus the rising sign or the moon, what your emotional landscape would be, right? So how you relate emotionally to the world. We've got the sun in Pisces. That radiance expresses as compassion, intuition, mysticism, and surrender. The oversoul shines through unity, imagination, and spiritual flow. So Aries starts as the individual, and Pisces ends as unity, consciousness, collective energy. And the sun reveals how you experience yourself as a being of light. That's what the sun is how you be it. So the sun is the solar self. It represents your core identity, your purpose and vitality, the guiding flame of your incarnation, your oversoul's chosen expression style, and the primary way an individual radiates into the world. Okay. So that's that's the sun. That's the sun through the Krystic astrology, true sidereal astrology lens. And now we'll finish talking about embodiment like I was going to. So we've got Ophiuchus and Leo, right? We've got the Ophiuchus sun and the Leo moon. So Ophiuchus says, stand in your truth. And Leo says, stand in your heart. And together they say, are you ready to be the version of you your oversoul has been showing you? Are you ready? Are you ready for this? Right? So today is not a quiet day in the cosmos. Today is a day of self-recognition. It's asking us to remember. Remember who you are. Remember what you came for. Remember why you came here, to why you chose to shine in this incarnation. So the oversoul and self-expression. Oversoul embodiment is not only about inner stillness, it's about expression, right? So you can embody your truth internally, right? You can embody your truth internally, but not express that externally to anybody and feel like you're embodying your truth, because you're embodying it. You're just not speaking it, right? You're not telling anybody it. That's okay. You're still living it, right? In the quiet of your home, or, behind closed doors, right? You're living it. You're just not really living it, right? So, but it's not about that. It's about the expression of it as well. It's about walking as you're meant to walk. So it's about becoming the person that speaks truth rather than fear, the person who shows up without shrinking, the person who chooses vitality or visibility over hiding, right? Do you show up? Are you showing up? Are you still hiding? Are you still scared? So this is the person that leads from the heart, not from the wound. Okay. So the Leo energy turns the inner flame inward, and Ophiuchus turns the inner truth upward. This is oversoul expression. So Leo is the heart flame. It's the moon in Leo activates the heart flame. And this flame is not about approval. It's not about performance or attention. This is about authenticity. It's about living with your heart wide open. It's about remembering that your heart is not a liability. It's your guide. We're meant to be heart-led, not brain-led. That's so limiting to just let your thoughts or your mind or your logic center lead everything. It's your heart. Your heart should lead you. Let it be your guide. So the Leo moon says, show who you are without apology. Just shine bright, roar. This is the day when your soul wants to speak. So, you need a sip of tea. So Ophiuchus, this is the truth frequency. I know, Ophiuchus' son, remember? So Ophiuchus brings truth to the surface. Not the dramatic truth, not the painful truth, the soul truth. So we're into the truth of the truth. There's no lying to yourself here. And what this does is it pulls you back into alignment. It shows you where you've been playing small, and it reminds you that you were not created to be half yourself. You weren't created to live somebody else's life or somebody else's version of your life. You were created to be that expression of the divine and to do what you wanted, what you were meant to do. You were meant to do. Not to be half of yourself. Ophiuchus says, it's time. It's time. It's Ophiuchus season. It's time. Let's go. It changes to Sagittarius on the 17th. At almost midnight on the 17th. So your ego today, because of the energy of the like the planetary alignments, he's having a little bit of a day. It's a little bit of a day. The ego is like, okay, we can express ourselves, but let's be subtle. Let's just like tone it down a little bit. And the moon is like, no, absolutely not. The ego is like, okay, maybe one small truth, just one small truth. The moon is like, I think you need to ask the sun. And the sun's like, full truth only is Ophiuchus season. And the ego's like, I was not consulted in this. And the oversoul, you were not supposed to be. All right, because we're supposed to be led by our oversoul, but most of us are being led around by our ego, which is riding, looking at the past and dictating that the future, predicting the future through the past. I like to say he's driving, looking out the back window, and that's not how we want to lead our lives. So Leo helps you to embody a new identity, and Ophiuchus helps you to release the old one. That's how these two work beautifully together. And today they may help you to speak, like to desire to speak your truth. They may give you, you may feel the desire to create something, because Leo with that heart energy is very creative energy. There's the desire to move forward. We have that fiery energy of both of those signs. And Ophiuchus is actually sitting not only in the sun, the Mars and Venus are both in Ophiuchus as well. You might have that sudden clarity about who you are, a sense that your old identity no longer fits. And you might have a spark of courage that you did not have last week. These are not random feelings. These are your oversoul signaling to you. And this is the celestial alignments, the energies around us that are guiding it, right? And that's why we want to be looking at these. So we're going to do a little embodiment practice, because you know me, I got to make you do the practical stuff. That's where therapy never wins. If you're just doing all the top up, you're not getting the bottom down stuff. If you're just doing the bottom down, you're not getting the top up, right? You have to have both. You have to work on the logical space, understand your beliefs, question, why does this pattern keep arriving in my life? What am I not willing to see? What truth am I not willing to acknowledge? Right? But you need to get it out of your body because you have stored the energy. You haven't released that, all of those emotions. So it's both. So let's do a practical. Put your hand on your heart or both hands on your heart. And you know me, and make you breathe. I'm going to slow it down and deepen it. So take a nice slow breath in through your nose, and you can close your eyes. In through your nose. Out through your mouth, nice and slow. For many of us, we need a couple more breaths because our brains are far too elevated. So let's do another one. In. Out. And the third one, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Now ask yourself, what truth is my heart ready to express today? Whatever the first response is that is clear and direct is the right one. Remember, the Oversoul speaks to you directly. It's not confusing. Now you can ask, what part of me wants to be seen? And what is my Oversoul asking me to embody? Your heart knows the way. Your Oversoul confirms it. So if you're brave, you can let me know in the comments and share it with everyone that's watching. What came up for you? Right? What is the truth that your heart is ready to express? What part of you wants to be seen? And what is my Oversoul asking me to embody? So when people step into my field, they feel permission to be who they are, permission to speak their truth, permission to rise, permission to embody their Oversoul. I do not teach people how to be confident. What I teach you is how to remember the version of you that already is. And that is the work of Ophiuchus and Leo. It is the work of embodiment. So let today be your day of truth. Let today be a day of expression. Let today be a day of courage. Your oversoul is not asking you to be loud. It's asking you to be real. Right? It's all we're supposed to be is real. Just know your truth. If you're going to do something that, you know, somebody maybe thinks is out of alignment, you know, like you have a lot of people that will tell you, you have to do this and you have to do that, and, you know, to be spiritual and whatnot. And sure, you know, if you know that, say, preservatives and, you know, like the highly ultra processed foods bad for you. Let's say you know that ultra processed foods are bad for you. If you eat that, if you eat the foods knowing that it's bad for you and you feel bad about it, then you're out of alignment. And it's causing chaos in your system because you're knowingly, consciously eating something that you don't think is aligned for you. That's poisonous, right? So in order to align that, you either have to stop eating the stuff that's out of alignment with you, or you have to get yourself right with it. And that could come as simply as it's okay. It's okay to have it occasionally. It's not the ideal thing for my body, but it's okay to have it occasionally. And when I have it, I'm just going to love it. I'm just going to love the fact that I'm having it. So let's say you know, we're still on the processed food. Let's say you do the processed food and you decide I'm not going to eat that. But you make an allowance for your birthday because you really love cake. Well, then eat it with joy, right? That's what is necessary. It's coherence. It's alignment. That's what you're doing when you're embodying, right? You're living with integrity. So you're standing on what you say you stand on. And if you disagree, if you don't think that something's good or aligned with you or right for you, then you're not doing it, right? That'd be like somebody who knows that the relationship they're in is the wrong relationship and they're just waiting to get out of it. That whole time that they know it's not the right relationship, but they're still in it, they're out of alignment, right? That's an obvious one. You know, the same thing if you're going to work every day and all day long while you're at work, you're like, I hate this job. I hate this job. I hate this job. The whole time that you're at work, you're out of alignment. And that's causing chaos in your system, or it's causing issues in your life. It could be causing illness. It could be causing disease. It could be causing financial hardship. It could be causing patterns that keep coming back up in your life to show you that you're out of alignment, because that's what the patterns are. That's what they're there for. Not to punish you, not for anything else. They're just here to show you where you're out of alignment, where you've been out of alignment. Mm-hmm. Magnificent. That's what that word up there says. Magnificent. We can do a quick little overview of what we talked about today, but I think it's pretty clear. We talked about embodiment. We talked about, you know, the sun and moon, the sun being in Ophiuchus and the moon being in Leo, and how that's, you know, the truth. We're going to speak the truth, and Leo is, and we're going to speak from the heart. So we're getting both truth and heart in there. And that's asking us, asking us to stay true to ourselves and true to the rest of it, true to our mission, the rest of it, our truth, right? So there, how was that? 4:23 on the time here. Not too bad. I had to walk my dog before I did my live because I was so late going live today. But what did you like about the information that you heard? What did you? Are you looking forward to the Krystic Wealth Activation class that I'm going to be doing? I'm also teaching Bridge to Light Phase 2, which is all about embodiment. That is a 6-week course that I will be starting on January 9th. All the, that's available on my website under, why is that thing not some widget on my phone that's sticking out for no reason. I'm going to go to my website and I'm going to pull it up that way there. If we go to pathways, and under pathways is Bridge to Light Phase 2. I actually do have to address this. It is not correct on that website. Yep, I have to correct my site. But that's okay. That's okay. It's just an update. I'm glad I went and looked on it. But anyway, the Bridge to Light Phase 2 is there. What I suggest with that class anyway is to jump on a call with me and just have, any of your questions answered, and go from there. See if it's in alignment for you and for me. So that's what I would suggest. There's all kinds of stuff available on my website. There's membership groups. There are mini classes like the one that's coming up in January, which is, again, the Krystic Wealth Activation Series, which is inexpensive at $44.44, or free if you're a Krystic Mastery Circle member, because that membership fee is $44.44 for the month. So it's the same price as 1 month membership, or you can just pay for the class and enter it that way. So that class is coming up in January. I'll be releasing more information about that. Bridge to Light Phase 2 is in January, 6-week course covering embodiment. And then in March on the 20th, I'm starting the Krystic astrology course. So you can look for more details of that. I'll also be letting you know what mini classes that I'm going to be putting on for this month. I know that there's a lot of people who have a lot of things going on in December because of Christmas, but I also know there's a lot of people like me who are no longer celebrating things the way that we used to celebrate things. So if you're one of those people and you're looking for something to do in December that has nothing to do with Christmas or holidays, then look towards the classes that I'll be putting on Sha'Ryah. So definitely go and check everything out there. I love you guys. I'm going to hop off. It's getting close to my dog's supper time, so he'll be anxious. And plus I shut him out because he was barking. So he's probably wondering why he's still outside. But I love you. Check out the replay. It'll be up on YouTube and Facebook and, all those things there. And I will see you tomorrow. Again, I'll be on around 1 p.m. Mountain Time, or as soon as I can after that. It all depends on how interrupted I get with my day. I don't mind one bit. I was speaking to my girlfriends and I got to speak to both of them today, and that ran me late. And then I had to walk my dog before it got too late. And so that ran me later. And it's just the way that it goes. But I allow myself to flow through my days. And so I'm here when I'm here, and I love you. And I hope that you can join me when I am here. And the way that I think it is, if you're meant to hear the stuff that I have to say, then you'll show up when I'm live, right? You'll find me. All right. I love you guys. I will see you tomorrow around 1 p.m. Mountain Time. If you need anything between now and then, go check out my website or send me a message. Love you. Thank you for hanging out.